This podcast was originally posted exclusively on Patreon. If you want to support the channel and gain access to additional content just like this, consider going over to patreon.com/coop64, which is linked in the description below. Now, enjoy the episode.
Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation bonus episode. This week we're talking about Expedition 33, full spoilers, Spoilercast. Nick, how we doing?
Come on, dude. Come the fuck on. This game, spoilers. Finally, we can talk about this. Spoilers are on, right? So we can just right away. If you get out, if you haven't played this game, because it's fucking awesome, you should play it. Spoilers are on. Spoilers on. Spoilers. Fucking Gustav dies. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. Charlie Cox in the first act, out of nowhere, RKO, Randy Orton, say his name, he appears. Jeff, what are we doing, Connor? It's a spoiler cast for my current game of the year. I'm very excited to talk about this game. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Yeah, that shit rules. Jaw on the floor type of moment. Ballsy.
Being ahead of you and Jacob, are the two people we were all talking to while playing this game. I was like, I'm the first person, it felt like, because I know that other people are obviously reviewing the game, and but I got like pretty straight to it when we got those codes and everything. I was like, I feel like I'm the only person in the world who knows about this, and I can't talk to anyone. And the people I can talk to haven't experienced it yet. But yeah, I didn't want to say call me right after Act 1, but I was like, call me right after Act 1, you know? Golly, son. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're shooting this back-to-back from the Comfort Games podcast, so double podding it up on a Sunday. That's exciting.
We did postpone this a week due to, I mean, that review is already going to be out by then, but we can say that we are playing currently Doom right now, and the Dark Ages, so that review took the place of this, but this is going to be the next bonus pod. So yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm just so looking forward to this one, dude.
You're guiding us through it. Do you want to just hop right into it?
Yeah. No housekeeping necessary on this show. I keep on forgetting that that's the case. So the way we're gonna do this is the way that we did the Last of Us Spoilercast and the Uncharted Spoilercast. Spoilercast on the channel can take any which way form, but this one is going to be one of those that I do want to take beat by beat. I do want to get into the minutia of the game and really dive deep on this one, because there's just so much to discuss. But first and foremost, overall thoughts with spoilers. I gave this one a 9. I think that this game is amazing. I think that the overarching narrative that we're going to be discussing is fucking awesome and mind-bending and really cool, but the reason that it's not an all-timer for me is the character dynamics are a little bit weaker, and we're gonna hop into some of those narrative beats in a moment. And then the gameplay is also just fucking unbelievable, and parrying, and it feels amazing, and Minoko in the way that you can like break him is just so fucking cool. And goddamn, I just love this game so fucking much. It's currently my game of the year. My entire TikTok timeline is just Expedition 33. I had a fun experiment with our sister who was up here, where I was like, hey, you should play this game. It's all over my TikTok timeline. She's like, really? And I pulled up my phone and I went to TikTok and I scrolled for 10, and I was like, within 10 we will see an Expedition 33 TikTok, and within 10, Connor, we saw 4 Expedition 33 TikToks. It was so I'm just eating this game up. I love talking about it. I love the discussion around it. It is so much fun to have a game that is taking over this way. The highest rated game ever on Metacritic user score. Wild.
That's ridiculous.
Wild.
It's reverse review bombing.
Yeah.
It's like, I do think it's a good thing to like prop this game up and be like, yes, like this game is great. $50 small team, like very robust, bang for your buck type of experience. A really great, excellent game that should be propped up and like loved in this way. But 9.7 is crazy.
It's awesome.
The highest rated user score game of all time. It's like, okay,
this game is not. Connor, the people are saying it's not as good as Elden Ring or God of War or Baldur's Gate 3 or The Last of Us or BioShock. Expedition 33 is ago. No, I don't believe that that's the case, and I think a lot of people don't. But it is a really cool moment that this game is currently having.
Yeah, I think this game is great, and I'm an 8 out of 10, seemingly way lower than a lot of other people.
we've discussed it a little bit before when we started like really getting the channel going, that there will be reviews that go down as like these legendary reviews, that it is Connor gave this game whatever, Nick gave this game whatever. And for me, currently, it feels like Concord is my big one, where it's like, this guy gave Concord a 7. His opinion's invalid. You giving this game an 8, I think is going to be one of those reviews that is quote unquote legendary.
I feel as the dust has settled on it, like I feel really confident in that score. Yeah. Like I think it's a great game. Like
the best,
I think it has some flaws.
The best is people saying on the long form and the short form, either you're too high with the description you gave or you're too low with the description you gave. And it's like, well, no, then
there's
that
aspects that are amazing about this game that I really love, and then there's aspects that I think are a lot lesser. And when it comes to the story and what we're going to go over today, like I think that the bones of it are really interesting, and there's aspects of it that I really like. There's aspects of it that I do not like nearly as much, and we're going to dig into all of that here. And I do think that when it comes to my understanding of the story, I think the story is very complex and has a lot of detail and a lot of different aspects that I think can be very difficult to follow.
I had to rewatch a lot of scenes while taking notes last night.
Yeah.
The wiki like kind of revealed something to me that I was like, this makes sense, but also like I didn't fully understand it with who is controlling the Gommage. Because it's Renoir who's controlling the Gommage.
Yeah.
It was making people disappear, which I was like, I thought I understood that it wasn't the Painteress, but like, but why was the Painteress painting the numbers there? Like, understanding that concept overall is not because they want to add the intrigue, and they really like try to tight rope. Jeez Louise. High wire is the word I was trying to look for. The entire experience of like keeping that intrigue while also giving enough of an explanation of what's happening, but it also allows for really cool YouTube lookups and trying to understand like what is happening in this game overall.
And that's not necessarily like a knock on the game. I think that it was just a lot to have wash over you in the initial moments as stuff is happening. That like I do like games where you have to dig a little bit deeper post the scenes to understand fully, but I think that's going to push some people away. And in the moment, I think that it did lead to some frustration of like, what exactly is going on here? Like when you're talking about like the Gommage and like why they're painting the number, it's like that wasn't clear immediately to me. Like I needed to go like look something up and be like, okay, like this makes sense.
The other part of this, and it is just part of it's very interesting playing a game where you can't look things up. And like we could technically, I guess, email someone from PR and be like, hey, what up with this or whatever. But like we can't look things up. There's not a guide for all the questions and answers and everything that is happening within the game in the same way that it is for anyone that's currently playing the game, where the amount of people that I've seen have questions about the transition from Act 2 to Act 3 that are unclear, that they are able to take 5 seconds, look it up, get the answer, and go, compared to us just sitting in it while we were reviewing the game.
So much information between Act 2 and Act 3. Where it's how long is that cutscene? Like
it's like 7 minutes, I think, of like between the cutscene of her waking up and then going and talking to her sister Mael or Alicia, whichever one you want to.
I'm talking from beating the Painteress.
Oh, okay.
To everybody.
Getting Gommage,
and then coming back and being able to like actually
maybe
play
like
the
10
game.
Minutes, maybe longer.
I think it's like 20 minutes off the top of that.
It was long.
Felt like 20 minutes. A lot happened.
The reason I say that it was long was I played that at I think 1:30 in the morning, and then I was like, okay, cutscene, go to bed, cool. And then it does the. This is just the wrong word for it in general, but it's a word that kind of makes sense with the context. Inception, mind-blowing sort of deal, where it's like, all of a sudden this gets zoomed out in a major way where it feels like you're going another layer deep in the dream, for example. But like, god damn, we'll hop into all that. But yeah, no, like long ass cutscene of explanation and going into it and not having those answers be readily available. Like the thing too is like, you can't just go back and rewatch it on YouTube. Even if like I would have loved to in that moment been like, all right, let's reload a save and everything. But it was the end of the night, and
I think it all makes sense. Like with everything that's going on, it's just a lot is happening very fast.
Something I couldn't say on the review also, and we'll get into it when we're discussing it. I there are two endings to this game, and I couldn't talk to Connor or Jacob about it after beating it. But what happened was I beat the game at, I think, 12, 15-ish on that like Wednesday night. I was traveling on Friday, so I was very thankful that I got it done when I did. And then I beat it, then got Casual Gaming News together, and then it was like 12:30, 12:45-ish, and I was like, I'm going to go and reload a save and try to get the other ending just so I can have an understanding of the other ending.
Did you have to beat the final boss again?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that took me another 45 minutes, and then I got through it. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
I cooked the final boss.
Yeah, we could talk about how and why you're so good at this game also.
I don't think I'm that good at it. I think I just like, you can just break the game.
Yeah.
Pretty easily and just do a ton of damage at the end.
Oh, dude. We'll hop into all this. But first and foremost, before we get into it, into the bit by bit, piece by piece for this, shout out to everyone watching this. This is a Spoilercast over on Patreon. You guys made this happen, and we're very, very thankful about all that. So cheers to all of y'all. Let's start with the opening. Game opens, day of the 67th Gamage. We meet our protagonist, Gustav, and he initially meets his friend, Mael, and you get a quick little battle between him and her. It's awesome. It goes and starts to establish what we think is going to end up being the core relationship in this game. Gustav then goes down to say goodbye to his ex, Sophie, and then the scene transpires. They get gommaged, and then we get Gustav. Let's just end here before we get into the next phase of it. And that really feels like the impactful, punchy opening of this game.
Here's the thing with the opening and the way that people are talking about the opening. It's awesome.
Awesome.
It's really well done. It's ruined by the trailers, or like this is explained, like this is the concept of the game is like people disappear every year and it's ticking down and they're going to fight the painters or whatever. Like that was the initial sell of this game, and I think we see this or like see some aspect of this in the trailers.
The thing that is done very well in this game is setting up, and Charlie Cox puts on a fucking performance here, just makes a meal of it, setting up his relationship with Sophie and them being like your exes, but like the concept,
still care about each other.
Yeah,
obviously.
we still care about each other. The concept, I think, that like really was enriched by me was something that during the Persona stream, I tuned in for 10 minutes just to hear what the Min-Max crew was saying about Expedition, and somebody said it's so fucking well of like Sophie. Of course, in this moment, all she wants is to look somebody in the eyes as she dies. Like, she just wants to be with someone and not be alone. Mm-hmm. And putting that, like, having that perspective and being done so well, of like, I was so focused on what the protagonist was going through, having that other side of it, and just, like, even thinking about it for half a second, having that click, being like, how impactful is it to be like, this person is seemingly unafraid because she's sort of accepted death already. She just wants to be by someone that she loves. Also, like, when you start to think about like why they didn't connect, there is a line that's brought up in the game being like their relationship didn't work out probably because they disagreed on how to go and have a future in this world of do we go on expeditions? Do we have kids? And that whole question, like, this is such a tight opening. And I don't think that we're talking Last of Us level opening. I don't think we're talking Uncharted 2 when it comes to intrigue, but it doesn't. But we were talking about an opening that is so immediately tosses you in this world, makes you want to go and fuck up the paintress, and like gets the engine revving in an awesome way.
I do think that it is an opening similar to like an all-time great.
Yeah.
If you don't know that it's coming, if you don't know nothing about this game and you go into it and this happens and like you're like, oh, I'm hooked. Like this core concept is so good, but I've been hooked on the core concept of it since I saw the first trailer. So it's just dampened by that lead up of marketing.
Yeah. Here's where the game, in my opinion, if we want to talk about the opening, I think that if you include this in the opening, this is why this game is so immensely strong, which is you go, it's the night before everyone goes on the expedition. You learn that Mael's coming along with you because she just wants to adventure the world. She doesn't want to die on this island by being Gomage. She's like, I want to go now and experience things. I want to die out there and not here. And so it's like, okay, it's go time. Let's go. You meet a bunch of these other expeditioners and you're like learning their stories. You're like learning about their intrigue. You get on the continent and fucking Papa Andy Serkis is just over there. A man with white hair is on the other side, meaning this old dude is there. And then shit goes down like it's a war zone of the entire expedition gets attacked. And it is, in my opinion, this is, if you include this in the opening, this is why the opening is so immensely strong. Because you're so right. We did not have questions going into this game. It was very clear what the movement was going to be of, we're going out to go and kill this big bad, and that's the game. But the immediate question of, how is there somebody over the age of 33 on this continent? I'm getting chills even saying that. Was so intriguing immediately that once again, I was the first one to play though. I'm like, what the fuck? What is happening? What? Like, it is such a good twist because we do understand what the general premise of the game is, and is such a strong immediate question of, how the fuck is there somebody older than the age of 33 here?
And then he just fucks everybody
and then he murders everybody.
Like, it's not even close. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, these are characters that we know like are somewhat powerful based off of like the limited fighting that we've done as Gustav. It's like they are strong and like can fight back and have seemingly trained to go do this expedition and fight these Nevrons, is what they're called.
Yeah.
Like, and they just go and get wiped immediately. I think is very gripping and very interesting, and how the scene is shot, and like it gets like hazy, and like everybody's like just dying around Gustav, and he's just like kind of,
it's a war scene,
shell shocked in that moment. I think is really powerful and very good. Yeah,
and so now just discussing the entire opening, I think that this, if you want to include that is where, in my opinion, we can have the conversation of being, this is an all-time opening. Because it is so emotionally impactful and then immediately grips the player in such a way that when I played through the opening of this, I had something I had to go and do immediately after. I was like, okay, I'm going to play like maybe 2 hours of this game. And going through that opening sequence, I was like, fuck, dude, this is awesome. This is all-timer awesome. And like, in my opinion, this game has clear flaws and it has issues, but like, you sent me a great text while I was on vacation. You're like, the gameplay, the world, the story, and the music in this game are all great. Like, and I'm like, yeah, like
it
this
gets
shit,
the stuff that it really needs to get right,
very
right.
right.
Yeah.
And then it falters on some of
some details, some small things.
For me, it's details and characters
that add up.
Yeah,
which I think that characters at their core aren't bad. Like, they're interesting on a surface level, but like I don't think that they're like a great RPG cast.
I didn't fall in love with any single character, which is
Minoko probably is the closest for you, right?
Yeah, Minoko's awesome. Minoko makes me laugh so much. We just saw Thunderbolts, and I'm not trying to spoil that movie in particular, but the Red Guardian character, David Harbour, with some of the dry, over the top humor, for some reason, it like hits the same funny bone as Minoko did for me. Anyways, we go out on this expedition. I do think that the opening is immensely strong. We get introduced to Gustav, Sophie, and Mael at this point. We sort of understand who those characters are. But at this point, it is Gustav alone, like Zuko alone, in the hit series Avatar: The Last Airbender, Season 2, Episode 7, I want to say. We now have Gustav alone, Charlie Cox, the Daredevil himself, by himself after he just witnessed his entire life get absolutely destroyed by this white-haired man. So after they get massacred, Gustav goes out of the world, and you get a little bit more of the combat just for a brief moment, and then he approaches just this pile of dead bodies. And he of previous expeditions, and I believe his current one to some level.
I think it was all just previous.
Yeah, okay, that checks. And he goes and sits down and pulls out a gun and is ready to attempt or to commit suicide. By the grace of God, Lune goes and sits next to him, and it says, if you do that, we're both going to die, so please don't pull that trigger. And he decides to go and continue on. When one falls, we continue is a motif in this game that continues to persist. Understanding that line and the way that it is said over and over and over again, and having the context of the full game and what this game is about, which is grief, I think is like maybe one of my favorite lines in any game ever. Just this idea of like, what do you do when somebody dies? You continue. You get back up. You pull the bootstraps back up and you go. And having this like extremely so sad moment. And also like I'm like, if you want to include this into the intro of this game, because when people are like the intro of this game, I'm like, what are you exactly saying?
Yeah.
Even including this, I'm like, this is so strong because like the questions that this game asks are so interesting because I want to talk about each specific aspect of it with all my friends, with anyone that's played this game. Like, I would love to go and have that conversation of like, I feel like when the zombie apocalypse gets brought up from a broad conversation, which is like, it feels like when you're with a group, every now and then it gets tossed out there. What would you do? There's always the person that's like, I'm outie. I would not be part of that. I would just end it there. And it's like, all right. And then what would you do and move on? And how would you move on and stuff like that? It feels like this game is that, but like tenfold of like, have the conversation, like, would you have kids? And like with the knowing that like you're gonna die well before them and you're not gonna get to see a lot of their life, and all those questions being posed are so good and interesting and really rich. Like there's so much in the first hour and a half in this game that I think is so immensely strong. What did you think of just this first lead in and the intro to Lune?
Yeah, I think that whole scenario with Gustav and Lune and him walking up on the pile of bodies, very intense, scary imagery, can kind of put yourself in Gustav's shoes there very easily to be like, yeah, this is dire, this is bad. Like, yeah. I get where he's coming from. Having Lune come in and save him and talk him through it, like, I think it sets up their dynamic really well in their relationship, and them deciding to go on and go forward. It's interesting because in the marketing material for this, like, I knew that the party was small,
yeah,
and when you go off on the expedition, like, you're going with like a bunch of people, and it's like, how is this gonna work?
Yeah,
and like, is everybody gonna get separated? No, they just get fucking fucked up. Or whatever. So yeah, I thought that this whole lead up, the whole intro is great.
Then we get to the water section, where we then see a sign saying Mael is over here, and there's the questions of like, is it Mael? And Gustav's like, I don't give a shit if it's Mael or not. We are going, and we are saving. The dynamic between Gustav and Mael's relationship, Gustav being her brother and also father, is so well done in this game. Of like, you get it. The fact that they're able to balance both those things so fast, of trying to give the player an understanding of their dynamic, and it's done so well. I think that the question of in this voice cast isn't who's going to get nominated, isn't how many of them are going to get nominated, but really relies on, will this game break the record at the Game Awards for the most characters within one game getting nominated? And my answer is yes. I think that 3 people will get nominated for the first time ever from one game. That is how strong the performance is, I believe.
Who would it be?
I think it would be Burso, so Ben Starr. I think it would be Andy Serkis as Renoir, and I think it would be whoever plays Mael.
Yeah.
She puts on a hell of a performance.
Shadowheart.
Is that Shadowheart?
BG3. Yeah.
I think all 3 of them have a damn good case to get nominated, because and then everyone else around them puts in a hell of a performance. But those 3
don't have enough character, in my opinion, to really hammer home the voice performance.
But those 3, anyone in that family, it's just like, oh my god, like, holy shit, did they absolutely turn it in? And the funniest part is, like, I'm like, if we had like 20 more minutes of Gustav, I could make a case, like, because Charlie Cox's performance is just so rich, so immediate, and like, talk about like casting the line and absolutely bringing the player in on a game. Like, he's so good, and their dynamic's so great. The water level design, this is the first moment that I'm like, I don't care how bad the hair looks in this game. This game is gorgeous.
Does the hair look bad?
The hair is going through people's bodies. It looks like a little bit uncanny. It was the first thing that took me out of the initial scene.
The characters do look a little uncanny.
Yeah.
Like, they're very lifelike, but also not at the same time. Yeah. Like, it's very But also, it's not a big complaint that I have at all.
It's not a big complaint.
I've seen other people complain about it way more than I would.
It is the thing that, like, when people are like, and thank God, like, I just feel good with the characters now, because rewatching other people play the opening, which I've done multiple times, at this point, I just like set it and forget it. It's fine by me. But I go and looking at the characters now, and like when we get to this section, is so strong, is so good, so rich. I'm just like, yeah, I don't fucking care about if the characters look a little bit off. This underwater landscape being the first section, I'm like, this could be the final level in certain video games when it comes to the beauty that is being seen of like you're underwater but you're not underwater. There are landmine creatures that remind me of like ship landmines. I'm like, oh my god, this is just
otherworldly,
so beautiful, so fast. Anything you want to touch in here, enemy design or anything like that?
No, I mean, like, it's really the environmental design. It's like I don't even know how this fucking works.
Yeah.
Like, are they underwater or underwater? But it's cool nevertheless. So I just love this environment, and going after Mael, I think, is a good first starting point for the characters to go after.
Awesome. So we go after Mael. We find a manor door at this point.
Yeah. This is so confusing. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
This is why I think that this game sometimes, I think in this moment, we're still in a really like good positive spot with the questions it's trying to ask and set up and just being like, hey, we're just, before we get to like the overarching questions, we go and we have the Gustav reuniting with Mael scene. And that scene I rewatched last night in full. It is really good. It's not just well acted, but like, holy shit.
So is it implied that the curator / Renoir saves Mael?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The actual Renoir who just loves his daughter will always save his daughter. Sort of deal. So they go and that's exactly what happens. We learn who this curator is. We don't hear his name at the start, but it is understood that he is the curator. He's the person that you go to upgrade your weapons with in the entire duration. But yeah, it is awesome. It is really, really good. And then after they reconnect, great scene there. We go and after reuniting, learn that we need to go from a gestural. We need to go to another continent to get to the Painteress. Mm-hmm. And this is where it's like, are we going to find SK? And it's like, who the fuck's that? But they heard stories and tales, and it's like, no, we need to find somebody that's able to get us. Let's go after this guy named SK. So they go out and they're like, we're going to go do that. So we got the squad. It's Mael, it's Lune, it is Gustav. At this point, by the way, these three characters were, for me, like, I'm going to only use these characters. I do not care who they introduce in this game. I'm finding ways to break this. I got the trophy for 9999 with Mael so fast by doing a like strike that allowed me to get in my poise stance for 200 damage after getting fire.
Virtuous
stance, yes. And then using an attack that got 999, the trophy pops, and I was like, that feels so good, baby. Yeah. It like anytime you, for the first time, you hit that 999 with each character.
CL.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's so much fun talking to people about like who broke the game for them, because everyone has a different answer from what I've seen. Like a lot of people are like, Lune's like broken if you understand her like
making this attack more powerful by turning in two of these or whatever.
Exactly. And it's like, oh damn. And then there's that attack down the line that she gets where through the skill tree, where if you don't get hit, it just increases over and over again.
I don't know if I got that one.
Oh, dude, I got that like right before the final fight, and I was like, cool. During that final fight, I was just like, okay. Every single time the direction would be on her for an attack, I'd be like, dial it the fuck in. And surely enough, I would get through those dodges and parries.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then it would do 14,000, and then 17,000, then 20,000. I'm like, it starts out at like 500. Like,
is it just one hit or whatever?
Yeah, it's
for me with her, it was the attack where I think it was an earth attack where it would be like 4 hits with like branches or something like coming in on the enemy, and before you get the break the 9999 barrier or whatever, those attacks were doing like 8k, 7k, 9k, like, and just like that was how I could get an attack off that was going to do like 40k damage or like close to it before being able to actually do like one singular hit that was going to do 200,000 damage with CL.
Yeah. So they go out. They're like, we got to go to the Gestural Village. Noko, I believe the little Gestral's guy name.
Yeah, that checks out.
He goes and he's like, I'll lead the way. And it's just like, we got a squad. Like, we got this little cute JRPG squad that we're going to go after. At this point, Mael starts having weird visions of the white-haired man and a girl in a mask. Then we get to the Gestural Village. Once again, level design, enemy design. So quirky and cool.
I like a good amount of whimsy and quirkiness or whatever. I think Noko, like the small ones, those are fun, and like the shopkeepers, like I like them. SKA just like did not do it for me. Like
we haven't even to meet SKA yet, but still
we're heading towards that or whatever. I'm just talking the gestural in general.
Yeah.
SKA is a gestural, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So like I think the comedy there that they're going for to add this level of whimsy to juxtapose the like horrific situation that these characters are in. Like I understand the reasoning for it. The comedy just did not work for me.
It works so well for me. And once again, I feel like stupid humor can hit for me really well if it's like at a certain point it does jump the shark for me. I'm like, this is stupid, but for me I was like, nah, this is like dumb, like shrug the shoulders type humor of like, oh no, like this is working well.
I just wrote it off eventually, like where it's like it's not necessarily taking away from the experience for me, it's just like it's just not working, so like whatever. But I moved past it pretty fast.
We go and learn to go and beat SK, we have to fight or learn where SK is. We got to fight the best fighter in the city. We go to the arena. This feels very Thor Ragnarok to me. And surely enough, that is where we meet CL. Oh shit, someone else is alive from the expedition. She went and got dragged over to like met a Jester also and went to the city after shit went down on the beach. And so we fight her, we learn her, she joins the expedition. First impressions of CL. Where are you at?
She's great. I mean, like, I think that she's on the same level as Lune for me of a character that I like, I don't love, which is fine. Like, I think most of the characters in this game deliver on what they're being they're given when it comes to the writing. Yeah,
I think that Lune and CL actually sort of fill similar roles, and both of them are like sort of we'll hop into it towards the end of like which side missions do we do, how far do we go with the character bonds and everything when we get there. But like for me, like CL, even like her story is like, this is good, but it's not like, for some reason it's not connecting the way that I need to, even though you get to play as her and like or her moveset connects and is really, really cool and fun. But it's like from a character dynamic, I think that like her character is just like good. And I, which like some people are gonna, I think, really disagree with that, where they're gonna be like, I think the writing for a character is amazing. I'm like, for some reason it just did not hit home with me, and I think that might be. We'll hop into.
My like argument here is like, compare this cast to like Mass Effect's cast, like another RPG with like with characters, or whatever. Like Mass Effect's characters are so much better. Persona 5, like I think Persona 5 has way more robust, interesting characters with similar social dynamics.
It's the conversation of trying to at camp, and we can just hop into all this now, of when you're at camp and you are going on the conversation. This is my biggest annoyance in this entire fucking game, is going up to a character and they say their line, and then it's like, do you want to talk? And it's like, yes. And then you go and you have this conversation, then you go back, and then there might be another chance for you to get another upgrade point of conversation, and you go back and you listen to the same dialogue, and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not, and you just don't know. So you got to roll that dice every single time. You got to do that 5 times by the end of the game, going to each character. Not fun, not ideal. It didn't
bother me that much.
For me,
because I would just skip through what I've already read or whatever, and then
but I don't want to do that. I like put a marker over their head. Give me a menu that says I can up their thing.
I felt like that whole aspect was very tacked on, and being like, we need more characterization for these characters and need more moments with them together. So like, let's throw this in here to like have those moments, and like it just didn't work for me.
And it jumps and leaps to spots that I don't love. Like that we go from having these normal conversations for we both romanced CL, I believe, right?
I didn't know you could romance anybody else. It just showed up, and I was like, okay, I guess this is canonically what is supposed to happen.
And so it feels like you go from just having conversations to all of a sudden it's just immediately, hey, let's have sex because the world's fucked. Like when it comes to her dynamic with Verso. And once again, that's an understanding sort of relationship. It feels very Walking Dead to the main characters, similar deal of like their first introduction is like all about like, hey, the world's fucked, let's just have sex. And so I get that dynamic, and it's an interesting one, but it also doesn't feel fleshed out. And then when the questions come in about her husband and everything, I'm like, okay, we were just talking about random shit, and now all of a sudden we are doing like deep trauma. And like, I understand that sex is extremely connecting between two people, but it's like, is it just boning that got you from this point to that point, it didn't add up. And I'm like, if this is the romance relationship, which should be one of the deeper emotional resonating connections in this game, and it wasn't done well enough, I'm like, I'm sort of just out in general. I still completed that because I wanted cool ass attacks and a level 3 power up. But like,
I did it because I was supposed to do it rather than like, oh, I really want to hear what is next for these characters. It just was like every single time I was like hoping for it to turn into something a little bit deeper. Like it just never did.
The things that did work for me very well were the bromance relationship between Verso and Minoko and Verso and SK. Like I loved their dynamic of like how just like how much like unfiltered love SK has for Verso and vice versa. Like they're so good. And then Minoko's relationship is a standout for me in this game. Cecil joins the party. We learn very fast that you can CL. Sorry, not I wrote Cecil right there. CL broken to shit. Like you can find a way to break her real easy,
I like
real
her
fast.
combat the best of everybody in the game.
Yeah, I think so too for myself. And initially, I did not use her. I had her in the backup party. Which, by the way, the backup party mechanic in this game is fucking awesome.
Why is there? I wish there was one more character to have it 3 and 3. I don't know.
Here's
why.
the thing, though. I agree with that, but I thought that for 95% of while I was playing and understood that was going to be a core mechanic, and I was like, nah, there is something special about being like, we're going in with the main party, but if they go down, it's only up
I've won battles with one person.
Exactly. I beat the game with just Minoko at the very end of my backup party, and it was arguably the most satisfying moment of I had to, and I knew I was close enough. I knew I was doing the calculations. I was like, I'm probably 3 perfects away, and I went perfect, and it's 12:15. I was like, fuck yeah! Like it was from the deep bowels of my body, like making me scream how much I loved beating some of those battles at the very end. It was great. So we meet CL. We go and learn that we need to go to find SK. We head off and get to his place, and we learn about this rock guy.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute, funny. It's whimsical, but like it didn't move the needle for me.
So we get SK on our team, and we are ready to set off. The squad is Gustav, Mael, Lune, CL, and SK. We're ready to go and mess some shit up. We're ready to go after the Paintress. We go and defeat this lamp boss. That lamp boss,
awesome boss,
fucked me up. I did not know to shoot the goddamn lamps, and it was really funny. I was in a Twitch chat. I forget who I was watching, but I was like, they're like, that lamp boss took me forever. I was like, do you shoot the lamps? They're like, I did not shoot the lamps. I was like, I also did not shoot the lamps. It also took me forever. And they're like, it's the same thing when you said that to me. I was like, what the fuck? Awesome boss fight. This is how you close out an act, like a big moment in this game.
We'll have a 2-phase boss fight, and there's a lot of this game. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And surely enough, the party's all fine, and that's the end of the game. And we defeat the Paintress, and this is where we get to a cliffside. SK goes down onto the water. Lune and CL go and hop on, and Mael and Gustav have a adorable moment where they're like, we're gonna throw rocks, because that's what they do together. They throw rocks together. And their conversation about throwing rocks and like what it means to them, so well done earlier at a back camp moment. But this is just another moment of them being like, we're on this adventure together, and we are brother and sister, and we are daughter and father. It is just so good and so well done. But all good things in the world of Expedition 33 have to come to an end, and this is where Renoir, the White Hand Man, walks back up into the picture and decides to fuck Gustav up. Gustav tells Mael to run, and then we get into a combat sequence where it is Gustav with 1 HP in a dream versus Renoir. You do an attack, and then it cuts back to the cutscene. This is Gustav dying, and it is so well done. This is, in my opinion, one of the video game moments now.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the best moments I've seen and I've felt in a video game. There are so few games that have ever made me feel the way that I did. This is in this moment.
Is there any other game that you can point to where the main character dies this early?
I don't know.
Yeah, not off the top of my head.
I remember like the amount of stones it took to make a decision like this, especially when you've already casted somebody like Charlie Cox. It's like, could we? Obviously, the story and narrative, what they were trying to do, was not about exactly this, but talk about trying to absolutely punch the gamer in the face with the idea of like, this game is all about grief. This game is all about death and what it means to the people around them and how we interact with it. And so Mael goes and gets saved by Verso. Verso and Renoir have a conversation that's very seeming of like, what the fuck's happening? There's definitely a dynamic here. I read it like a book right away that they were family and stuff like that. They start talking about family. They point up to the masked girl being like, she's your fan. Like, this isn't exactly what you want either and everything. And so there's a really interesting back and forth dynamic there. Once again, even though certain questions got answered in this moment, it felt like we also got 50 more asked, and it's so well done. And I think that that's what this game does expertly, is continuously asking questions to the player and giving us more and more reason to want to be in this world and find out alongside the amazing combat. Mael pieces out, the squad pieces out to get to safety, and then Verso catches up with the squad. But that is Act 1 of Expedition 33. Through one act at this point, where were you at with this game?
When it came to the combat, like I had my gripes with it, like I say in the review. And I was enjoying the story, I was enjoying the ride, but then like the Gustav moment happens and it's like, fuck yeah, dude. Like that is such a ballsy thing to do. I love the decision. It gives you another jolt of energy to like continue on with the story to see where things are going. Love it. I really do love this. I love the boss fight that precedes it. I love the dynamic between Verso and Renoir in the scene after Gustav dies. For like a lot of it, I was like, is Gustav gonna like get up, or is like he like still breathing?
Yeah.
Or like I don't know what's going. Like there's no way they kill him, right? And
Yeah.
It's like nope, they do kill him, and I think it's really interesting and really cool when it comes to that whole dynamic. So yeah.
Verso, at the start of Act 2, catches up and explains he's a surviving member of the first expedition. Once again, just like, this is badass as fuck. Where are we heading with all this? The white-haired man is a person named Renoir, who's the commander of the first expedition, the Expedition Zero. For reasons unknown, they both stopped aging on the continent. Renoir believes that his immortality was granted to him by the Paintress, so he eliminates other expeditions to protect her, which just like immediately this like expedition dump is like, this world is so fucking cool. Like, I'm just all about this. This all works for me. It's a lot, though.
But Renoir, we're jumping ahead here, but Renoir is made by the mother, Aline?
Yeah.
In this version of Renoir, to protect her.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. I want to say this now. We will get something wrong in the story during this spoiler cast. That will happen. We've only played the game once. I've done my round of YouTube videos and whatever, but it still feels like there are so many questions and these things are not perfect by any means. I wrote my notes, then went to Wikipedia and curated my notes, and then I rewatched cutscenes last night until I was like, I need to go to bed. But yeah, awesome. Love the expedition dump. Really, really cool.
Exposition. Expedition. We're talking about expedition.
Exposition dump. Verso has grown tired of his immortality. This version, and this is the character dynamic for him. And he's like, I just want to stop being here. Yeah, like this needs to move on. Then we get a scene where the party pays their respects to Gustav. One of the best scenes in the game. The issue with this scene, and it's a slight issue, is Lune and Ciel's, like, their conversation falls flat, but it's mainly due to the fact that the other ones I think are so strong with Mael's performance here. And like, this is why I'm like, I don't know.
The story is Mael, Verso, and Verso, really. Like, Lune and Ciel are there.
Yeah, and that takes away from a party dynamic, which is, this game should be about the party. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just wrong. But, like, then don't have them there at all as the conversation. But, like, you kind of need them for their cool-ass abilities and stuff like that. But, like, if they're going to be there, they should be more fleshed out and have more of an interesting dynamic. I wish that, like, this game would have been solved by just, like, having more scenes together and them doing stuff. Like, we get to the scene where it's SK with all the wine in him and the toast and stuff like that. I'm like, this works. Like, why do we have no, like, there isn't, it doesn't feel like there's another scene that comes to mind that is the squad being the squad. Like, and that sort of
the party dynamic.
Exactly. Yeah. We have character dynamics intertwined, and some of them are interesting, some of them are not so much. And then other than that, it's like, why is this a team other than we're all about to die?
Yeah.
So they pay their respects. I think that this is one of the strongest scenes. Like the makeup of this game is just strong scenes. Like even when you start getting a little bit tired with certain aspects of it, it's like, nope, we're gonna hit you in the face with another like super emotional payoff moment or hype moment or whatever. Verso then is like, hey, we got to go and get my boy Minoko. He's gonna be some good extra firepower, rock and roll. We go to.
Do we have another interaction with Renoir before this with trying to get the go into the manor again?
We got Minoko
before that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then we after we get him, we got to go and slay the heart of the paintress, which is in the manor, and so it's like we got to go and grab the heart, which is in Old Lumiere. Okay. That's where we get to the mansion. That's where we face it off against Verso.
Gotcha.
What a fight! I'm gonna double check that we get Minoko first, but I believe that is 100%
the fight
the case.
Is hard as hell, dude, and awesome. Just looks amazing, and getting the patterns down, super fun. Feels insurmountable at first. The music, the visuals of it all. And then finally getting it down and hitting those parries and utilizing the sound cues and everything feels so good. This is one of those fights where I think I was on my second round of people. Like my first party got wiped, and I ended up being able to come out on top, like barely by the skin of my teeth or whatever. So yeah, super cool fight. Very interesting dynamics between Renoir and like why he's doing this and what the party is revealed to know now, like between Renoir and Verso and their relationship. Like,
which happy they did that now. Happy they did. They got that dynamic going.
They did it really fast.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
I'm happy they did.
Yeah.
This because it felt to me very telegraphed that they were family, and so it's like. They had that conversation to sort of allude to it. Let's just go and have the whole party know what the players sort of
It is kind of superfluous anyways. Verso's right. He's like, it didn't seem like it would add anything here. Like, we need to go kill him anyways. Yeah. So, like, let's just go do it or whatever. So, yeah.
No, I think that this is where I'm like, are some of these boss fights going to be my favorite boss fights in gaming? And the answer is, fuck yeah. Like, this boss fight in particular is really, really good. It's not my favorite boss fight in the game, but it's still... the music, the scenery. When we talk about sauce, like this boss fight has the atmosphere, the music. This is also the first time that the sound design for enemy attacks is just unbelievable. It is just so good before large attacks, parries, and oh my gosh, I really want to get back to this game, dude. It's so fucking good. Just give me more of that combat system. And yes, we do have Minoko. This is where we lose the little gestural also, which is super sad. Like, when I say super sad, I mean, like, it's sad just because it's for the rest of the party, they're like all talking about this big bad, and then it's Minoko like holding on to this little gestural being like, he was my friend. And it's like, oh, fuck. Like, because you guys existed outside of this, but like, I think that dynamic was like interesting to some level. Verso admits that he's Renoir's son, and the mask world is his sister Alicia. Renoir teleports the mansion away, and Verso's plan is destroyed of defeating the heart. Then it's like, all right, we got to take on these Axons to go and get this super weapon to be able to get through the paintress's
chroma,
right? Exactly. Oh, I was just gonna say wall, but that I believe is the terminology there. Both Axon fights really cool. The sand level, not the mask level, the sand level. There's a moment I'm pausing the game and I can probably talk about this, and this is the moment that Brayden gave me a call, and the music in the background, I can like hear it still, was so good. I felt so bad for Brayden. There was 3 different times during that phone call that I would literally was like, hey man, you gotta repeat what you just said. I just got like swept up in just listening in, and like, you know, when you're listening to music and like sometimes it takes over the thought process just for a little bit, and then you go back to whether it's driving or being on the phone or whatever. I got like so swept up that I was like, I just missed 60 seconds of this conversation. It was so good. I think the fights overall for both were very good. Where are you at with the mask fight and the...
Dude, the mask fight I went up to and tried to do without doing the optional stuff. It seemed very optional in the moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I need to do this? And I'm all for more fighting or whatever, but like, let me just go see what we're looking at with just the main fight. And it's... somebody can beat that fight without doing the optional stuff to beating the masks first and going and fighting the guy. But like the way that he heals himself basically fully every few turns, it's like it's impossible. Like no shot. So I tried it for like 3 tries. I was like, I'm doing something wrong. Went back down. I asked you about it. Went back down the mountain and did the optional fights.
I beat my head against the wall for 2.5 hours, and I was like, okay, I'm not getting like I would get to the final fight multiple times. I also didn't shoot the eyes out, so I was going through this fight.
So it's the eyes in the mirror, and then it's the fight with the 3 masks behind them. Okay, so like I shot the eyes immediately. So I got to the second phase first try. I also like couldn't block the attack that put everybody at 1 HP. I just kept struggling with that, which happens even if you defeat the masks in the optional area or not. The way I got around it, I put my 2 people who were not going to be who were like my reserves in first, and went through the entire sequence of shooting the eyes and then got them to 1 HP, let them die, had my full party health.
Really? So you only had 2 people for the main fight at the start?
Yes. So then once we get to the second phase,
all 3 roll in.
All 3 like they die immediately because they're all at 1 HP, and I'm like, I don't really want to deal with trying to get everybody back to full health, so I just let them die and then had my full squad come in.
That's so cool. That's so good. But yeah, no, both fights were awesome. Super epic, super large scale, especially the sand fight where it is that giant yarn doll looking thing. It's just awesome enemy design.
There was some sort of optional thing there too where you had to fight something that would help you. It was very much more straightforward though, of like it's already in front of you, you might as well fight it, and like it'll help you in the main fight.
There's one that I'm pretty sure you cannot get there without doing, and then one of them you can skirt around if you want to. I fought both though.
And I think it's cool to have like a moment of, and I think it's a little bit surface level and not like a ton of build up to it, but like Lune and CL both, each of them having like their moment of like triumph to finish off the boss in like a cutscene, like once you actually beat the fight, gave them just a cool moment. So
100%. The funniest part is I only got 2 more bullet points about gameplay stuff before we finish Act 2. But there's some big ones. We go and climb the mountain and we kill Renoir. Like, that is the next major story beat, is us icing the main big bad, it feels like, in the game.
And this is where he has the lion.
Fucking lion. This is my favorite fight in the game. It's my favorite fight, and it's not close. This is immediately, like, I don't think it's top 5. It might not even be top 10. But this is in my top 20 boss fights ever. Like, it is so fucking cool. And sometimes video games are allowed to just be cool. It's like, okay, this guy that absolutely fucking smoked me before, we're more powerful, we're going to mess him up, and you start messing him up because you know the moveset and you understand it. And then what do we fucking do? He pulls out a big ass line, and it's the oh no moment. And that lion moveset is where I really think the game from a rhythm basis gets a little bit more complex. I think that this is the first like moment where it's like you're not just doing for music's sake quarter note parries where it's like 1 2 3 4. It's like 1 2 3. Like fucking loved it. Really enjoyed the fight. Thought it was just really epic, and also just the colors. So many times in this game, the color palette is just so rich between like bright pinks and like vibrant violets, and then there are the more subdued grays when you're at the manor fighting Renoir for the first time. But this being like this clash between yellow and this like electric blue line is just so cool. Like. The team's small enough that I could have with the credits been like this dude or that this gal or whatever, like, but like they are so talented.
The lead up to this fight is the going through the greatest hits, right, of each level.
Yes.
Or is that after this? Where you're going
it's either or. I don't like that ever.
You're fighting Clair and Obscur or whatever, light and dark. Those enemies, those are fun. But this fight, I think that the battlefield is really awesome. The actual battle with the lion is excellent. This is where Mael at the end of it and the curator like kind of get rid of Renoir. They work together, so then that kind of starts to lay the groundwork for like what is the curator exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. We get some more exposition dump here, but like I'm a little hazy on.
I feel like
details.
it's all heading straight towards the Paintress still, and so. The next thing is we defeat the Paintress.
awesome fight, dude.
It was so cool.
The second phase of this, where it's fucking massive, like, is so badass.
Love
dude.
being a little guy in a big world, Connor. And this is 100% that feeling of like, how the fuck do we take this thing down? And this is also where CL entered the party for me, and I was like, oh, it's game fucking over. The way that her cards work and min-maxing and like trying to go and be like, all right, if I put like 5 Dark Moon cards and then I use my Sun attack and it's gonna do crazy fucking damage.
Yeah, it's all about setup and payoff for her.
Also, this is after this fight, you get the best Picto in the game, which is breaking 9999. Yes. But no, it was just fucking awesome. The payoff was super sick. The music's amazing. It's really, really good shit. Anything else for Act 2 before we get into
this at this point, like we're gonna go through all of the story aspects here because we're getting a lot of it. You're gonna hit me with like some sort of summary, or we're just gonna try. Okay, all right. We'll take it bit by bit here.
Yes. Well, your boy had some podcasts I do not prep for when it comes to Spoilercast. This one was like, I need to prep not just to like have a good understanding for us to go through, but also to just like remember. I played this game. I forget when we got codes, but it was like
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks before the embargo, and the embargo was 2 weeks ago. It's been like a month since the start of playing this game and everything. Excuse me. But so I was just trying to make sure that I had this good to go through. But yes, we defeat the Paintress. The Paintress is revealed to be Verso's mother, Aline, and the party kills her, erasing the numbers on the monolith. This is the let's fucking go Gatorade get hype moment of the game. We fucking did it.
Yay! Everyone, and you plant the flag and everything. It's like, this is only triumphant. Nothing bad can happen from here.
The party then returns to Lumiere. As heroes, but Verso reads a letter from Alicia revealing that Aline was trying to protect the people of Lumiere from the real Renoir, who was responsible for the Gamage, which is just like, what the fuck, dude? Fuck yeah.
So he's trying to erase this world slowly and like tick down Aline's power of keeping the world kind of.
He's trying to just destroy the world, and Aline wants to stay within it in any which way that she can, which is just such a sick, nasty concept. Without Aline's protection, the entire population of Lumiere vanishes, including the party.
So, and that's the curator / Renoir's doing.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, that is big bad Renoir, not
the real Renoir, not like the painted version.
Renoir. Epilogue. Alicia. This is where, once again, it's just like everyone just died, and now we're just in cutscene central. Alicia and her this is where we get the reveal that Alicia and her family are magic users called painters. They're able to create worlds within magical canvases. The real Aline and Renoir are battling over Verso's canvas of Lumiere, as Aline used it to live with a false Verso since the real one died, saving Alicia from a fire. Clea, Alicia's older sister, advises Alicia to enter the canvas and destroy it to stop Alicia's parents from bickering so they can fight against the writers. Did you pick this line up?
Yeah, I think that I like situations where there's a loose thread that doesn't need to be answered, but asks a lot of questions for the time being. You know what I mean? Where it's like, what the fuck is going on with the painters and the writers?
Yeah.
And like I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's super sick. So
they're the ones who caused the fire that kills Verso. They have some sort of beef.
Exactly, which is like so sick nasty. Like this is, and Verso seemingly saves Alicia in that moment and goes back in or something, like where Verso dies because Alicia. And this is also where we get to see real Alicia in like a horrible spot where she can't speak, and it is really sad.
Her life is terrible,
and her life is miserable. And this is going to be something that Connor and I touch on while discussing the end of this game, because it is super interesting of what to do in this situation. So we get Alicia being like, "Fuck it, we ball. I'm heading into the canvas." Alicia regains her memories and reunites with Verso, who wanted to defeat Aline to expel her from the canvas for her own good, even if it meant letting Renoir destroy it. Alicia tries to convince Renoir to change his mind now that Aline has been banished out, but Renoir, who is the curator, there's that reveal in there, is steadfast and prevents Aline and being like, we can't have Aline come back in. But now, like, Mael. I'm just gonna go with Mael for the rest of the way. Still,
Mael / Alicia now have the memories all together.
Yes,
they're one person,
and they got sick ass white hair.
And the reason Mael is because when Alicia goes into the painting, Aline like basically stops her from like having any
all the
control and having memories, and just like puts her into this Mael body, basically, essentially like creating this new person.
Yeah. So cool
to kind of just fuck around in the world.
Once again, so cool when you understand it. In practice, it is so much. I think that this is a major issue with the game. Is yes, this moment asks a lot of cool questions and it's all this shit, but it is done in such a way that takes away from some of the reveals. I feel like this one could have used a little bit more telling than showing when it comes to the narrative perspective.
Yeah. So I think it's important to note that like Mael though is a person, has a whole life, was born into this world, and like has memories and is their own individual leading up to this point. And then when Alicia, like, in their memories kind of like merge or whatever, and she realizes that she's like a painter, it's like those memories aren't erased.
Are we just talking about Succession at this point? You know, not Succession, Severance at this point. But yeah, Alicia then goes and is like, oh shit, I'm a painter. I'm gonna revive everyone, like the party, and then also use the chroma in the world from the dead bodies of the previous expeditioners to basically all out assault, trying to go and defeat Renoir.
So we get Lune and Ciel back. She paints them back into the world. So that's kind of like the rules of everything here. Is like this world is created, but everybody who's like in it seemingly exists in some capacity. I really struggled with how I felt about this reveal, that everything is essentially a simulation. It's fake. None of this is real. It's all happening in this separate world. But I think that the way that they present Mael's situation and her like upbringing and the characterization of all of these characters throughout this journey makes me think that the game wants to look at these people as real.
And
like there are gods out there creating this world, just like you could arguably say is like our world or whatever, where there's an overall creator and they made us and we have our existence, but there's somebody like puppeteering something in the background and kind of guiding us or whatever, like if you're a religious person. But and you could say the same thing here. There's the Renoir and Aline and Verso's soul and all the painters. They're the puppeteers. They're creating this world, and everybody in it is still having their own agency and are like
free will.
Are functioning within this thing that is created. So I at first was like, it's all fake, so what does it fucking matter? And it's like, no, I think you could argue that their experience and their world is just as real as the people on the outside. So
I completely agree that it is equally real and everything, and that's what makes this whole finale so interesting.
There's stakes to it, because they're still trying. I felt like the goal leading up to the finale was okay. Leading up to the end of Act 2, we are trying to save everybody in this world from perishing. And you go back, and it's a big celebration, and we've saved the day. Then everybody dies, and then we bring everybody back. We paint everybody back into the world, and it's like, okay, like.
Well, my big thing is Mael paints everyone back in the world. The question of where Verso's at the end of this game mentally is such an interesting one, where it's like he reads this letter, he realizes his whole life just got turned upside down,
but Verso's not real.
But in this world, he is, you know?
Yes.
So, and this Verso also doesn't have the necessarily soul of Verso, but he still has the mind and the heart of Verso.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so it's like, all right, like, what is this guy going to want to do for what's happening and everything? And how is he going to work this all out? But yes, it's currently all out assault, go time against Renoir.
Yeah, to save them from being erased.
Yeah, to save
because
the painting.
He wants to destroy the painting.
Yes. Badass fight scene. One more.
Yeah. The lead up to this also, like in Lumiere, like like a kind of like a fucked up Lumiere with you have some of your like army fighting and you're like running past them, but then you also have like your own fights and the big horse with like the big circle thing.
Only reason I beat the final boss.
That was the hardest fight in the game for me.
It was up there.
Like
for me.
I don't know why
the
I
final
struggled
boss was harder.
So bad with it, but like he had one attack. He had one where like your health would tick down, or like it would get like lower and lower.
Yeah.
Like your overall health, I think was that one.
There
was some sort of debuff that was like prevented, like you had to be perfect.
What I did was
it was like a death timer.
Use Verso to go and have that status infliction only go on him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a thing that did that, and then I had a purify on him, so I was able to get it all on me and then purify.
Yeah, because for me, like I just was eating those, and then like one character would die, and then I would have to get everybody like off the same schedule or whatever. So one character would die, and then the next character would die, and then I could revive them, and they would attack, and then I would revive the next one or whatever, and that's how I got through the fight.
Awesome. That fight, the lead into all of it, fighting in Lumiere, like this is where this game really sings at this point. Do we want to, before getting to the straight up finale, discuss any side stuff? I real quick want to do. I did Ciel's and Noko's full side story and SK's, but SK's is a quick moment. Ciel is in a fight, and then Monoko's, that's a battle. You face off against Golrog, who's the queen of the Nevrons and everything. Not Nevrons, Jestrals, yes. The one that you meet earlier in the city. You face off against him one more time. It's a joke that I've talked to Connor about multiple times, which is you do that fight with Verso and Monoko, and there's a scene where Monoko, and it's like all through text, but it is voice, where Monoko's just like, Verso's like, do I need help with this? And it's Monoko, dry humor, one-liner, please help me. And then the fight kicks in. It's like, because like that's their relationship and everything. And then you go and you save Noko, the little one. You revive him. And that like for me was like, I like this dynamic enough to want to do it. When it tees up Mael's and Lune's side story, I was like, I don't care. And that's, I think,
I did Mael's, and I got to the very top of this massive tower. And when you go into these areas, it says danger if you're like too low level. I did not know that. I just assumed it was like, okay, like it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
So, but when I was going through up the tower, it's like, this is doable. Like it's not really all that challenging. Like I this is reasonable. But when you get to the top and it's Mael versus Alicia, it's like, okay. Like I was dying in like one string of hits, and I was like, I can't do this right now, clearly. Or I'm not supposed to be doing this, so I just went to the final boss.
So I was also dying once when it hits against Golrag, but your boy was like, all right, let's dial it up.
But you had two characters.
And it was just two characters.
You could revive somebody. In this, it's like you're just dead.
I wasn't getting, like they would take one and they would have another move and take the other one out. Okay. And like it was damn tough.
When it comes to the side content in this game or the end game content, there's so much of it seemingly, and like just stuff flying around the map. And I flew up to like one of the dragons and tried to fight them, got my teeth kicked in. There's only up in this game. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Where like you have to do like platforming challenges to get certain costumes. Like that's really cool too.
This is what I would want to do if I had already played all the Goaty noms for this year. I would like to the stream before Goaty night, like do 10 hours of just playing Expedition, unless something else comes out that I'm like, I'm gonna do that instead. But no, I'm like, this is fucking rad. Like I want to.
It's one of those situations where like if I had a guide at the end to be like, you should go do this first or whatever. Like you do it in this order because like this is the least challenging end game thing, and then go up. Like I would have enjoyed doing that. And I think a lot of people are probably doing that now.
I got to the arena, which is like in the sky and everything, and you have to nominate one person. I did CL. I got iced in no time. I was like, fuck that, I'm out. I'm not there yet. So
I went to a casino in the sky, and like there wasn't anything. You go up to the door, and I think you get like an item or whatever, but like there wasn't seemingly more stuff to do there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, then we get to the finale of this game, which is one of my favorite fights in the game. I for me, like emotionally didn't resonate as much as the one against Renoir part 2 did, which by the way, the fact that like they're so unafraid to be like, we're just gonna go and have this character be the big bad and everything, and they're so good at being the big bad. Andy Serkis, dude, fucking delivers when it comes to the voice. Like,
crush him.
The dude's obviously immensely talented in an acting capacity and also a voice and mocap capacity. He did not mocap this one, but he was just voicing. But the voice is just so all-time unbelievable performance. Great job.
Excellent.
And so I think that the game relies on that so much to allow this final fight to be as impactful as it is. He's like, no, we're gonna destroy the painting. I don't care that you hid the painting. She's gonna find it. She's gonna go back in.
We need to move on.
We need to move on. And this is where, in my opinion, the gradient attacks in the game are the best. Where
sick.
like hitting some of those dodges, full team parries is just like, oh my fucking gosh, like it's so good. I loved it. I loved the gradient attacks in this fight when the building gets dropped on you and like it's coming in from this way, and then you hit the parry, and then you get to like sort of like fly back at. Oh, the momentum of that swing felt unbelievable. Anything fight. Oh, this is my favorite part maybe of this entire game was finally understanding. I grew up a music guy. I took band. I took many band classes at the end of my high school career. And I was literally conducting during the slash when Renoir does the slash down to the slash side. It's 1, 2, 3, and then on 4, that's when you parry. And for me, I got to the point where I was using my left hand over the top to hit R1 on my controller. And I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, and like double hitting it, and it works every time at that point, because if you don't, you're fucked.
I think it's this fight, the light ones or whatever. Like he had like lightning attacks, like a bunch of them or whatever. Ding, 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 ding.
And when you finally like get it down, especially the pattern, because it isn't going around the horn. Basically, it is not random, but it is number 1 go, number 4 go, number 2 go, number 5 go, and it's just fucking so good.
It's all sound based at that point.
That is where, if you dial in the sound cues, that is, I think, the only way to beat that fight, because it isn't so off base otherwise.
And then the way I got through this fight was I just did 250,000 damage with CL's level 3 gradient, and then that brought him down to 1/3 health, and then it was just a matter of finishing them off. And like Lune with that one attack that I said that does 4, and at this point it was doing like 15 to 20k per hit or whatever. So it was like, okay, like I can just fucking crush with that. And yeah, just kind of that whole process.
It took you 2 tries. I don't know how this is the case. Game took me longer, and I was under leveled compared to you. So like I must have really just stunk.
I was level 50 something.
I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
So like, and you beat the game at least 6 hours in front of me. But no, I think that this is just fucking gas money. This fight's awesome. It's not my favorite Renoir fight, but I think all of them are excellent, and this is up there. And just the entire fight's sick as fuck.
Let's get into the finale.
Then we get into the finale. Verso, you win. And Maëlle has a sick ass moment where she goes, flies through the air, and slices, and it's just like, all right, Renoir, you're gonna leave. You're out of the picture.
And he's like, we all need to leave. We need to move on. And Maëlle basically is like, I don't want to live that life. I have a life in here. Like I have all these memories now of me growing up and growing with these characters. Like I want to stay here. I don't have a life worth living out there. And she's like, I'll leave eventually, or like I'll leave and come back or whatever. And it's like she's not gonna leave. Like that's clearly a lie.
In the end, you know that actually is the case, that she does not. But you get Verso versus Maëlle. Verso's soul in this in between area really does feel like
the edge of creation.
Yeah, it's the edge of creation. Which legitimately you are at the edge of the creation of this canvas. It is Verso versus Maëlle, and it is such an interesting battle. Like I fucking loved this fight.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Like a very interesting dynamic. And I think that in the moment, before you have all the context of everything that happens post who you choose.
Yep.
Maëlle's coming from we need to save everybody in this universe. I want to stay here. I don't have a life worth living out there. That is the goal right now. And Verso's like, let me rest. We need to move on.
You need to move on.
You need to move on. We need to get over move past the grief and find a way to like cope with this more. And I am sick of living in this world. Like I need to move on. Like my soul needs to rest, essentially. And I think both of those ideas make perfect sense.
Yep.
Like they both have a lot of validity. I sided with Maëlle in the moment because, like I said, I think that Lune, Ciel, Gustave, these characters are real characters, and we have spent the entire game trying to save everybody from the Gommage, from dying. And now we're presented with a situation where everybody's gonna fucking die if we don't stop Verso from erasing the painting. And it's like, okay, like I understand I do not want Verso to just continue to suffer in this situation, but it's like I'm also not comfortable letting everybody die. And that was the whole goal the entire time. So I was like, we stick to the plan. These people are people. I don't want to see them die. Even if Verso is going to suffer here, I don't think it's worth killing everybody else for him. Which sucks, because then you see the aftermath of it, and Mael clearly is not in a good spot or whatever, and is forcing Verso to do, like, to just play the piano in this universe, and he's getting older. And, like, he's
Verso's not happy.
Yeah, he's basically being held there. Yeah. And that's what we knew was going to happen, but like they really hammer home like how bad it is for him.
And Mael is going to get fucked up by being the painting.
We don't know what that does necessarily, though. I do think it's bad, and clearly with like the piano notes, it's like boom. It's like, oh no, this is a bad situation with her like painting on her eyes. Well, I don't know what that does though.
I think that she's like disintegrating. I think that she's dying
in the real world.
Both. I think that because it's clear that when the sister is like, hey, no, we need to get the parents out. There's a line in there of like, oh, the parents have been in for paintings for longer. It's not going to be that bad of a situation. But it's like, no, this is a bad situation if you are in a painting.
Yeah, I wish we knew more of like what the consequences of staying in the painting were. Because like if for Mael, it's like, it's very clear to me that like I understand the logic of her wanting to stay because she has a whole life there and has friends and can speak and like can continue on growing in this world without restriction, whereas in the real world she can't. So like, but if she's also going to die if she stays in the painting or like be like all messed up, I want to understand that more fully.
I'm like, I chose Verso first. I played both in the same night because I was like, I need to know both. I chose Verso's because I was more interested in what would happen. Like I was like,
I have finally watched the cutscene now.
Yeah, and it's like, damn, and the conversation that they have, by the way, it's the same on both sides. The dialogue, no matter who you choose, it's the same on both sides. And it's really good that it is, because when you start to hear Verso say it when you're playing as him compared to when you're hearing him, when you're playing as Mael, Verso sounds insane. Mm-hmm. Like you're destroying my life. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Not only her life, everybody else's life or whatever in the painting.
And then, but when you're playing as Verso, and he's like, you need to move on. Yeah. You are not moving on, and you are playing a fairy tale, and you're doing it for my sake, and it's not for my sake. So like, you're actually hurting yourself, and
I don't think it's for his sake. Like I've seen other people say that Alicia doesn't want to go back in the role because she's grieving for Verso, and I think it's very much more selfish. It's like she just doesn't want to live that life, and she has a whole life here. Where like I don't think it's about Verso. I don't think she in this world really is thinking about Verso that deeply, and her grief towards them. She's thinking about herself.
Yeah, and so I love the dialogue here. I love Verso's line delivery. Ben Starr, fucking dude, geez Louise, like this man is turning into that next dude, like when it comes to voice acting. Yeah, it really seems like it.
Yeah, and
like he's so fucking likable, obviously already, but like I've said this multiple times. I think Clive is the best voice performance of all time. Like and it's like the dude is turning in another performance here. Hopefully this time he doesn't get screwed out of winning. Obviously, the person from the G3 apparently turned in a great performance. Nothing against that person. Good for you. You deserve it. But man, oh man, Ben deserves a lot of accolades. I hope he gets it here. And like, it's tough. And then Verso wins. So I have it listed out as just this one sentence for both. If Verso wins, sorry, if Alicia wins, I had it as kill person. If Alicia wins / Mael, Alicia rebuilds Lumiere and revives its people and lives in a fantasy world, which will then eventually she'll not be like she'll die, it seems, or like something bad will happen. And if Verso wins, he banishes Alicia from the canvas and destroys it, forcing the family to come to terms with his death. And like,
but it's very important to me, like that we understand that Verso is killing everybody in the painting.
Yes,
that we have come to know and love.
But Verso also, this intermediate Verso seemingly is also taking it from the perspective of like, this is my art. I can do what I want with it, sort of deal.
Are these worlds real? Is the question. Like, are the painted worlds?
I think you're asking a question that, in the best way possible, because I think it's what's best for this game, is that's not important. It's about the emotion behind it. And one does believe the worlds are real and one does not.
Yeah.
And decide that allow the player to decide, is this world real to you? And for I think a lot of the players, I think Mael is the hero, and I'm going to go inside with the hero and these people, and I love these people. And for me, I was so intrigued by the grief that this family was feeling and why this world was the way it was.
Everything that's happening on the outside, I think, matters less to me because we've spent way more time with the characters on the inside.
And exactly, and that's a fair thought. And for me, I was more intrigued by like, I was really curious to be like, is the way the game is going to end? Is it exactly what I think it's going to be? And it is.
Yeah.
Which is, they're unhappy, but at least they're starting to be able to walk away from this.
Yeah.
Compared to Mael is happy, but also is destroying her own life and is keeping the soul of Verso captured, which is sad.
But the trade-off is that Lune and Gustav and all of them are happy in this world.
Getting to go and see Sophie and Gustav walk back in is like so heartwarming, and it makes you feel so good. But then when it focuses on the two main characters of this game, and it is the close-ups of Verso and Mael when they're in that concert hall, it is devastating. It is close to the feeling at the end of La La Land with the close-ups of like, and then the note hits and the paint goes, and it is no. What you're doing for yourself at the end of the day is foolhardy.
It's definitely, I think the results of the choice, Mael's choice, is the wrong choice.
Yes.
But I think when the question is proposed of save this universe or don't, I think it's a lot more gray.
Yeah.
But even seeing Verso's side of it, it's like, okay, like their family is sad, but they're trying to move on, which is good, which is the result that you would hope for. But you see all of these characters that we have come to know as real people with real lives and real backstories fade away and die. They get gommaged, essentially. And it's like, we just spent 30 hours trying to prevent that. Exactly. It just still doesn't feel good.
This game, I think at the end of the day, it's in the world of Expedition 33, there's no happy endings. Like this is just what the facts are. And I think it's so well done of like, and allows the player to ask all the questions of, at the end of the day, what would you do? And that's the important part of it. And your answer was, side with Mael. And I honestly think that like most people will side with Mael. I'm really curious to get like a percent. Really.
I think more people will side with Verso.
I'm very curious to see where that all lands. But like,
I wonder if they have the stats on the back end for that.
They gotta. Can we get a Walking Dead stat thing? Like, come on.
Cool to have a choice at the end of one of these games.
Here's the thing. I normally don't like a choice at the end of these games. Mm-hmm. At the end of games, there should not be choices. Tell me the story that you want to tell me.
Yeah.
Or at least
they do that though until the very
But the cool part of this is both of them make so much sense.
Yeah.
And I could understand why. I was so happy that I went back and played Mael's story because I was so intrigued by it and I wanted to know. It wasn't that like I was like, no, this is right and I'm going to do this, and then but I want to check it out. It was like I need to understand this character more because I'm so in love with the idea of like keeping this world alive and like, but it also sounded like the idea of keeping Mael / Alicia in a world that was just full of Connor and I talked about this. It feels like this world to some level is like a drug or like this just pure escapism. And it's like, is facing the music the right decision in this moment? And I love the conversations I've had with you about it where you're like, but is it real and does it matter? And the answer is yes, it does matter, and that's why it's interesting.
Like Mael is born to a family and has memories and has a whole life that she has lived.
Yeah,
and that's very real to them. And the Alicia memories being added on top of that doesn't change the fact that like
she gets to be happy.
They want to stay there. This is their life, and you're taking it away from them. And which is what Mael is technically doing to this made up version of Verso,
but it's still his soul.
It's just his soul isn't able to move on. It's Ghost Verso.
Yeah, it really is Ghost Verso, which dips on new band name. Like that's rad. But yeah, and that is the end of Expedition 33. This is currently my GOTY. I am not in the 9.7 Metacritic bucket. I give this game a 9, and I told Connor when I gave it a 9, I'm like, this might be a 9 that I love, like a 9.5 or something like that, where it's like, I'm going to think about this game, think it's super interesting. Apparently this game picked up for a movie potentially. I'm like, yep, that makes sense. These characters and these dynamics and this world and concept is just so good.
Yeah.
Dude, like, I know it sounds dumb and people would not be about it and whatever, but like, fucking make it a trilogy. Give me the first movie ending with the end of Act 1. Give me the second movie ending with Act 2, and then give me a third movie about the painters and the writers and the end of this story and everything. And I legitimately, like, that to me works as a fucking movie in like large scope, large scale. But like, or make it one. I think you need to flesh out characters more if you were to do a movie. But like, I love this. I don't want a sequel to this. I want this to be a unique piece of art. I'm so excited to see what Sandfall does.
I think with the writer painter situation, they are setting up something there. Something to explore.
Oh yeah, they could go. I think that they could go multiple places with this.
You go with the writers from their perspective or their situation or whatever. Because they're probably creating universes as well.
Exactly, they totally are. Yeah. But in like which universes are, dude? Yeah, like I want more of this, but I think the more of this that I want is the endgame content and exploring and being with these characters.
DLC for this?
I don't think so. Okay. But I want as much of this game as possible. And and it's the thing that we've said time and time again. Game Pass, $50, 30-something person team. Like, this game needs to be, I disagree with this take pretty often of the game of the year being the game that pushed gaming forward the most in the year. Like, that being the number one criteria of what game of the year means. But like, I think that in this case, it's like, the game is high quality enough, in my opinion, to win a GOTY title. It would be one of the weaker GOTYs if we had one, like in the past few years, in my opinion. But if it does win GOTY, great for it. And it would be cool for a game to win GOTY that is something that pushes the medium of gaming forward.
I would be happy if this won Game of the Year.
$50 and is like super accessible and like getting a bunch of people into turn-based combat. Like, I'm so excited to see the Expedition to Persona / Final Fantasy pipeline, which will happen for some.
Different with
so different,
gameplay.
but still,
it just opens the door, I think.
Totally. I think the big thing is there's so many people like myself for a long time that was like, I'll never play a turn-based game, and then this gets you in. And you're like, maybe we'll try one out.
Yeah,
and like that's cool. And I really hope that I think that this game kicked their coverage, that it did better than they thought it was going to do, hopefully. If not, I'll buy 5 more copies. Like, we'll like, no matter what, like, this game, I hope that this team gets the success that they wanted, and seemingly that has been the case. It is now just a question of what's next. I cannot wait for that Sandfall logo to pop up at a showcase eventually, because like, god fucking damn, it's going to be a pop off moment to see what's coming next from this team. I assume it's going to be a long time till we see something when we're talking about a team that is this size. But like, if we can get more games like this in the future, sign me up. Amazing titles, unique characters, unique world and concepts, and really letting a team get in their Duffy and just do whatever the fuck they want. All about it. Patreon.
Yeah. Alrighty. This show is made possible by our lovely Patreon supporters, specifically the dearly beloved supporters who get their name read at the end of each and every podcast. Members like MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocket Tater,
Nofi,
Apathetic Titan,
JC Falcon,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie,
Sconzi,
Cheery Sentry,
Strachan 1978,
Tyler D,
Scooterman,
Dasgoopy,
Dinkelberg Rules,
Centuru,
Hook'em Horns,
Gonash,
Neutral Sphere,
Charlie W,
Easton C,
Stooby Dooby,
Calvin M,
Nucleus Kingdom,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
JC,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Metal Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Yogi,
Dom,
Holden M,
Colin C,
Brock,
Voodoo,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Andrew H,
Master Diz,
Alex the Golden,
Only One Rufus,
Jesse F,
Drifter X1 Skirt,
Presto,
Maverick,
Goops,
JMat B3,
Ali Benali,
Michael,
and Kingdom Hearts Sucks.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.